Jason Rivers.
And I'm Mike Lundy.
I'm the manager here at Big Ray's Fly Shop.
And I'm a professional fisheries biologist technician up at the Alaska Co-op Fisheries Co-op unit and a professional fly fishing guide.
And we're here to talk to you guys today about pike lures and the evolution of pike lures and all the new pike lures for 2016.
And the thing about northern pike lures in Alaska, they're totally underemphasized and the market is pretty bleak. The standard like red, white, daredevil spoons, small bass style spinner baits have been the main marketing main choice in the last, probably for the last 25, 30 years, and that's what most people in Alaska have access to in Fairbanks, Anchorage, and everywhere along the Parks Highway, that every sport tackle store that offers pike gear. And today we're here to show you new and traditional mainstays and new hot pike lures for 2016. And northern pike in Alaska, you know, they're extremely aggressive fish. They consume up to 1/3 of their own body length. So pretty much everything goes, like long-nosed suckers, least ciscos, Arctic ciscos, broad whitefish, humpback whitefish. So pretty much all the popular coragonid schools of pelagic baitfish are popular prey item. Salmon, smolts, and we even go beyond that. Even critters. You got squirrels. You got ducks, both full-grown and ducklings. You got muskrats. The list goes on and on for small rodents. Anything that swims on top of the surface is pretty much a helpless victim on the surface. And we're gonna, based off their opportunistic foraging ecology, we're gonna go into depth in how that's covered in these pike lures today.
Thanks. Be in everybody's tackle box. This is a jointed Rapala. Should be in everybody's. You can see this is one that I use. Pretty damaged up. Caught a lot of pike on it. But some people that don't realize and they overlook is some of their salmon stuff. Things like magworts, things like that. Perfect for pike fishing. Sometimes the simplest thing is looking in your box and seeing what works. Next thing that you should look at, soft plastics. P-line kicker minnows, easy to rig, and they imitate a wide variety of baitfish. Am I not correct?
That is correct.
Simple rigging with the EWG hooks from Gamakatsu. And don't forget the wire.
Sharp teeth will cut through those. Will cut through mono like a Cutco butter knife.
Exactly. Some of the things that people overlook too. Some of the smaller halibut stuff. Berkeley 6-inch grubs in both pink and white. Perfect for fishing for pike. Some of the new things, and I'm always excited about new things, and it's not necessarily new, but new to us, is Larry Dahlberg's Mr. Wiggly. Now what this is what is known as an inline lure, and as you can see is the one that I have rigged up here. Pretty simple. What they mean by inline is the wire is fed through the line through to the hook, so that when this is hooked, when the fish hooks it, you go the bait goes away, so you actually save your lure. These are available wide variety of places, but you should actually check out makealure.com and make these yourself. They're actually pretty inexpensive, and the kit's pretty inexpensive. But you can get them in a wide variety of colors. Of course, Fire Tiger, and we like kind of the Cisco.
We also got Red Horse Sucker, which would represent your long-nosed suckers up here.
One of the things I'm most excited about this year is bringing in Savage Gear. Savage Gear is a European company that got introduced to the United States a couple years ago, and they carry everything from white little frogs and a variety of frogs, which we do have frogs up here, Alaskan tree frog, and the pike will go after these. Probably the most savage takes that I've ever had in pike fishing. Next, with Savage Gear Hybrid Pike. This is a very cool one because this is a hybrid between your traditional plastic, hard plastic lures and your soft plastic lures. As you can see, Has a nice little paddle tail. These come with two different sizes and very easily interchangeable. All you do is you have to twist it off. Has a little corkscrew. Twist it back on. Just like that. Gives you a whole different look. Again, going with that third of your body length. In some situations you may want the smaller. Some situations you may want the larger. The next and another one of the most interesting ones is what they call their 3D Pike. Savage Gear has taken, basically they take a 3D printer and put an actual pike in there, and they actually take a printing of that pike and made an almost exact replica of them. One of the perfect features of it is the weighted tail, and if you actually look at that subtle movement that's in that tail. Everything from down to the teeth on the front. This is rigged with 2 treble hooks, and again it's in line so that when everything's hooked, everything comes away and you save your lure. So let's face it, pike tear up lures pretty badly.
A cool thing with these northern pike swim baits from Savage Gear is that one thing I didn't mention in the beginning of the video, that pike also, if they can't find their common preferred food source in a given amount of time, they're going to totally engage in cannibalism, and they will eat themselves. And they do that in some of the small gravel pit and lake systems here in Fairbanks if they can't find preferred food source. And that's a good example of that right there. Alright, next, these are going to be some newer lures that have come out for 2015 and 16. Their first one is called the BBZ-1 Rat 50. This is made from a company called Spro, and the body is 5.5 inches long, and the tail is 5, making a total of 10.5 inch long lure. It's made of a hard plastic, so it's tooth proof, and it's got 1/0 Gamakatsu treble hooks on there, and it's articulated. And the other cool feature about this is top water, and this drives pike absolutely bonkers. There's nothing better than watching a helpless victim on the surface and a pike come up and just destroy it with a vengeance. And I assure you this will get you a lot of strikes in your 2016 pike expedition. 2 other good topwater baits we have here. This is from a company in Minnesota called the A-Team, and the company's owner is Bob Messicomer, a professional muskie angler. These 2 baits right here is called the Majorca, and this is called the Attack Dog. Now the Majorca is a 9-inch prop style topwater. I wrote about this recently in the August-September issue of Fish Alaska. This is a prop style bait, and it's best retrieved at different lure speeds, preferably moderate slow, where it brings up the most disturbance. And this is a really good lure, comes in a variety of colors. And then its twin right here, the Attack Dog. This is a walk the dog lure based off the original Zara spoof. This will glide erratically from side to side. That traditional classic walk the dog movement, which drive pike bonkers. And a common thing with this bait is pike will sometimes blow up and miss it. But if you keep working at the same speed, they will come back and attack it. And last but not least, this last lure is something very interesting. When you look at these 3 lures, here, go on, hold one up here, Jason. The first thought that goes through your head is, what in the heck is this piece of monstrosity? Well, this is actually, believe it or not, a baby beaver. There is a company called Beaver Baits, based out of northern Minnesota. The company's owner is Brian Boyum, and he had this thought in mind to design beaver lures because he was actually seeing baby beavers in pike and muskie stomachs in northern Minnesota. And Minnesota DNR biologists have found the same thing in Mille Lacs Lake and Vermilion. Baby beavers in their stomachs. And it's been documented and verified in scientific journals. So based off that published information, now you have the baby beaver. Now we got two models here. The one right here that me and Jason have in our hands. This is a 12-inch model, and this is the 14.5-inch model called the XL, the Baby Beaver XL. The 12-inch model is 3 ounces dry weight, so probably add about an ounce and a half of weight when it's wet. The main body is bucktail hair. There's 3 articulations in here. The head is hard plastic, and the tail is soft plastic. And there's 2 6-aught treble hooks in the 12-inch model. And the 14-inch model has same thing, 3 articulations, bucktail hair. This weighs 6 ounces dry weight, so add about an ounce and a half wet weight when it's being retrieved through the water. So probably wet weight's about 7.5, 8 ounces on this one. And to take things one step further, based off like the muskie fishing concept from the Midwest, muskies are really big at biting the classic burning bucktail technique. So pike do the same thing also. They offer different blades. There's size 7 and 10 Colorado blades, a twin set, and they attach right here to the top eyelet of the lure. And these lures do sink, they don't float. A floating model is currently being designed. It hasn't been released out to the public yet. We'll keep you informed when that happens, but for now, these should be a great pike item for Alaska in 2016. The way these lures work, you work them erratically like that, and depending how you retrieve it, they even go up and down like this. Or you can burn in a straight retrieve like you would a crankbait, and the blades will just spin like on a standard single-bladed or tandem-bladed bucktail or spinnerbait. And that's pretty much the nice wide arsenal of baits we just showed you. Now we're going to go over tackle and rigging really briefly here. And Jason's got some pike and muskie-based bait casting rods. And
you know that there's a lot of times where you just think that you can light line these fish and really want to talk about proper handling technique, things of that, but it's using the right tool for the job. You can go from the inexpensive to the expensive in rods. I think one of the best bangs for the buck, these new Ugly Stick GX2s. I currently have in my hand a 6-foot heavy action, 8 to 20 pound. I think this is one of the best spinning rods out there for pike. It can handle 90% of these lures except for maybe the big beavers. But you really do want to be aware of the lure weight on a lot of this stuff, because a lot of these rods cannot handle the weight on that puts on these. On average, these Savage gears run about 6 to 8 ounces wet weight, as well as the beavers and the choppers run about 6 to 8 ounces wet weight. And I think that's a really critical piece when choosing your rods for this. You want something that's stiff, not a lot of flex, and some people will think that makes them unsensitive. That's untrue. The stiffer the rod, the better the bait's going to react, and for the most part, you are going to be sight fishing for these fish, and you're going to see that strike. You're going to feel that strike through the rod. Because of the stiffness, you're going to feel every little movement. But if you're looking for an inexpensive pike rod to throw on the back of your boat, check out the GX2s. Next step up would be the Shimano Convergence muskie rods. These are a true muskie rod. The fact that they telescope up and down. They are a one-piece rod for strength and sensitivity. You'll notice that these one-piece rods versus a two-piece rod, much more sensitive, and will handle up to these big lures. I always like reading off what these can do. This handles a 4 to 16 ounce lure and a line weight 80 to 100 pounds. Now, I'll stress this: you probably won't see an 80 to 100 pound pike here in Alaska, but the lures that you have to use do require these rods. And then the final one, which I think I would have to say is a personal staff favorite here at Big Race Fly Shop. I know myself I own one, and our staff pro JR owns one. is the Shimano Travala. And most people that have ever heard about these rods, they're a vertical halibut jigging rod. They're a blue water jigging rod. And the reason why we like these, for one, they're light. You can cast these all day without getting a backache. And that's huge, because you're going to be casting a lot of big lures for a long distance throughout the day. But two, it's the flex. These are designed to be vertically jigged. Man, you can really put some strain on these, especially when these pike take your baits right at your boat. And that would be one of the first things I'd say to someone who's starting out pike fishing is fish your lure all the way up to the boat, and you need rods that can handle that stress when you do get a strike right at the boat and that fish takes off. So, want to thank you again for stopping by today, and check out our reels. Thanks, Mike.
No worries. Quick little discussion reels. Making a roll long into this, but kind of hammer the point away. All right. Given that these weights on these lures, like you and Jason mentioned, these lures weigh 3 ounces, some of them as much as 8 ounces with the big beaver lures. Like this one, the 14-inch XL, 8 ounces when it's wet weight. Some musky lures are going to weigh more than that. Some of them weigh up to almost a pound, hence the pounder bulldog. And you need a reel that has a fair amount of power. And a lot of the traditional old school, like Abu Garcia C3s and the original Shimano Corsairs, they just couldn't handle the drag and the power from these lures. So within the last couple of years, 4 main companies, so Shimano, Abu Garcia, Kuma, and Daiwa, all released these low-profile reels. They have extra drag stopping power and oversized gears and Dartanium and titanium drags that can reel these lures in at Mach 2 and burn them fast back to the boat. Same with big bladed bucktails. For a Shimano, definitely recommend the Tranks. They have both the high speed model and the low retrieve model. If you want some with more power, the low gear retrieve models are better. So that's the Tranks. Abu Garcia has the Toro Wave Winch Beast 60. Both come in right-hand retrieve. The Tranks only comes in a right-hand retrieve. And then I'll let Jason go with the other two from Akuma and Daiwa.
Well, go on the Daiwa.
The Daiwa is called the Lexa 300 and the 400. Same thing. They have about 25-30 pounds of drag. They both have a high speed and a low speed gear ratio with plenty of power to bring in these big baits. And the Akuma. So the Akumas are again one of our staff favorites here. Akuma Komodo and the Akuma Citrix. They're basically the same reel. They probably have one of the best drag systems on the market. They have about 25 pounds of drag, and they have just an absolutely killer gear ratio on them. Check them out. They handle most everything, and the nice thing about this, this will handle most of your big predatory fish here in Alaska. Yep. And like Jason said, we want to thank you out today for looking at all these amazing, pike lures. The Midwest guys in Wisconsin, Minnesota, why are they catching 40, 50, 60-pound muskies in Minnesota? I mean, the big bait, big fish theory holds true. If you want to have some fun with science, Google a theory called optimum foraging theory. It'll explain why big predators like to prey on big prey items for the nutritional benefits that they expend as much energy. And the same thing goes for northern pike as well. In Alaska, when you fish your pressured system of Fairbanks or the Anchorage area off the Parks Highway, there's no doubt about it that using your small traditional bass-style spinnerbaits, your smaller 2-3.5-inch lures are going to work. There's no doubt about that. But when you're on that trophy trip of a lifetime, where it be Minnow Flats, George Lake down there, and the lakes down there in the Delta area, the Anoco, the Whitna, the Caillou Flats, that Iditarod, all these remote Yukon, Questacon River drainage systems, and all the sloughs and countless lakes that inhabit those remote regions. There's pike out there topping 40 pounds, and they average about 15 to 20. That's just average. And if you want a shot at a 35, 40-pound monster, if you want to break Jack Wagner's 38-pound, 9-ounce state record, caught in the Anoka in 91, these are the lures you're going to want to have in your tackle box. Because Our attitude on pike fishing is simple. It's 4 simple words: go big or go home.